Most people think the jump from $1,000 to $10,000 a month is about working 10 times harder. They think you need to sleep 4 hours a night, drink more caffeine, and force yourself to grind through 10 times the volume. But I'm telling you right now, that is a mathematical death sentence. If you're trading your time for a salary, your income is capped by the clock. And last time I checked, we all only get 24 hours. 30 days ago, I was stuck. I had the skills, I had the drive, but I was hitting a wall at $1,000 a month because I was a high-level worker trapped in a low-leverage system. I was a gear in someone else's machine, and the machine was designed to keep me small. Then I found a glitch. I stopped looking for more work and started looking for leverage. I found a specific kind of empty brand, businesses that have incredible products but are essentially invisible to the modern world. And I applied a system that decouples my bank account from my schedule. In 30 days, I didn't just make more money. I re-engineered my entire reality. I went from $1,000 to $10,000, and I did it by working less than I did at my 9 to 5. In this video, I'm not giving you a hustle. I'm giving you the data. I'm going to show you the exact brands I targeted, the spreadsheet that proved the math worked, and the media leverage system that turned a fluke into an engine. If you're tired of being a subscription to your boss, pay attention. This is how you actually exit. I remember sitting in my car at 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday, staring at a bank balance that hadn't moved in 3 months. I was doing everything the internet told me to do. I was sending the cold emails. I was taking the low-paying freelance gigs just to build my portfolio. I was working until my eyes burned, and at the end of the month, after rent and groceries, I had exactly $1,000 to show for it. That $1,000 felt like an insult. It wasn't just that I was broke. It was the realization that I was exhausted and I still hadn't even started to win. I was stuck behind this invisible wall. I did the math, which is what I do, and realized that even if I double my output, even if I worked 16 hours a day, I'd still only be making $2,000. I was literally looking at the ceiling of my own life. The worst part wasn't the work itself. It was the feeling that my time was being bought at a discount. Every hour I spent editing a clip for a client who didn't care, or building a report for a boss who wouldn't read it, was an hour of my life I was never getting back. I was trading the only non-renewable resource I had for a number that didn't even cover a car repair. I felt like a System 404 error. I was an analyst who couldn't even fix his own bank account. I started asking myself, if I'm so smart, why am I so tired? That's when it hit me. I wasn't failing because I was lazy. I was failing because I was playing a game where the rules were written to make sure I lost. I was selling labor. And in 2026, labor is a commodity that's being priced down to zero. I realized that if I wanted to hit $10,000, I couldn't just be a better worker. I had to stop being the laborer and start being the architect. I had to find a way to stop selling my hours and start selling a result. I realized I was looking at the market all wrong. I was looking for jobs, but what I should have been looking for was inefficiency. I started noticing these empty brands. You've seen them. These are companies, construction firms, specialized consultancies, high-end boutiques that are absolute monsters in the physical world. They have 20 years of deep expertise. They do millions in revenue, but their digital presence looks like a ghost town. They have the deep knowledge, but they have zero media leverage. Most people are stuck in what I call linear income. They look at their bank account and they see time X hourly rate equals income. If you make $25 an hour and you want to hit $10,000, you have to work 400 hours a month. That is 13 hours a day, every single day, with zero breaks. It's physically impossible to sustain. That's why you're tired. You're trying to solve an exponential problem with a linear equation. But look at the media leverage system math. When I targeted that first empty brand, I didn't ask for a salary. I identified that their lack of attention was costing them roughly $50,000 a month in lost leads. I proposed a system that would capture just 20% of that leak. Suddenly, my fee wasn't expensive. It was a bargain. I charged $9,000 for the initial build and a $2,000 monthly retainer to keep the engine running. It took me 20 hours to set up the AI agents and the 3D visual templates. $9,000 divided by 20 hours is $450 an hour. That is the power of asymmetric leverage. I wasn't getting paid for my time. I was getting paid for the spread between their current inefficiency and their potential revenue. The 10x didn't happen because I found more hours in the day. It happened because I shifted my value from labor to architecture. I stopped being the guy swinging the hammer and became the guy who owns the blueprints. In the old world, you're taught to save 10% of your income and hope for the best. In the sovereign operator world, you find a 10x inefficiency, you build a system to fill it, and you keep the difference. The $10,000 isn't the goal. The $10,000 is just the proof that the system works. I'll never forget the moment that notification finally hit my phone. It wasn't like the relief of a Friday paycheck where you're just happy the bleeding has stopped for the weekend. It was different. It was the feeling of a heavy door finally swinging open. I looked at that number, $10,000, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel tired. I felt awake. I realized that the prison I'd been living in wasn't made of stone and bars. It was made of bad math and outdated beliefs. The satisfaction didn't come from the money itself. It came from knowing that I had finally reclaimed my time. I had built an engine that worked while I slept, while I traveled, while I actually lived. I had gone from being a subscription to my boss to being the owner of my own life. But here is the honest truth you need to hear before you click away. This window of media leverage is the greatest market inefficiency of our lifetime, but it isn't going to stay open forever. Right now, there are millions of empty brands waiting for someone to bridge the gap. Every day you spend thinking about it or waiting for the right time is a day you're leaving your leverage on the table for someone else to grab. The 9-to-5 world wants you to believe that security is a steady paycheck. But true security is the ability to walk into any market, find the glitch, and build the bridge. You don't need a new degree. You don't need more hustle. You just need to fix the math. If you're ready to stop being a gear and start being an operator, the first step isn't working harder. It's changing how you see the game. The blueprints are right here. The system is ready. The exit is open. I'll see you on the other side. This is the Financial Analyst.